Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30 this Friday, May 23rd. Time to wrap it up for today. And it looks to me like we got a pretty good move to the upside, reverse retest of 5840s, and we kind of stalled there and not been able to get up above that. Bounced up again several times, and I'm at this point you almost start expecting a little bit of a sell-off, going into the close, but we'll see how it turns out. At this point, though. I'm going to still, as long as if they can't get up above that 5840s, I'm going to be starting off with a slight bias to the downside. Even if it looks like a pretty strong market, you kind of had to get up above it before we really can start thinking about, you take a capital fly to get up above this area of resistance before you can start thinking about retracement up in this upper area. So we'll see where they end up closing. But at this point, starting off range bound, slight bias to the downside, looking to sell against the 5830s and the 5840s for rotations back down going into the overnight. Now we have a half a day Mondays. I'm not going to open the trading room, but that's about it. So back on Tuesday again. So it's just it's Memorial Day, half a day. Start Sunday and basically an early halt at noon Eastern or noon Central, so 1 o'clock Eastern. So that's there you have it. So going into Tuesday or probably Sunday, Monday, but it depends on how it goes on that half day. But definitely, unless they can get up above that 40s, I'm going to start off range bound with a slight bias to the downside. All right, above it, changing my bias. If they head up above that, then we could start with a bias, even more of a long bias. But at this point, that's kind of what we're doing. Looking at the bonds and the Nasdaq, no trades for me today at all. Nasdaq and the bond market just kind of stalled. They were up on the news, back down, they're pretty much trading around 112, 111.23. So not a crazy thing. They're pretty much they're not at value, but they are pretty. Let me see if I can find my capital flow on the bonds. There it is. So bond market is still to the downside, but definitely off the low. So you see pretty nice move right there. And if they can hold above this area, the 11, basically the 11, 15, 16s, we may be in good shape to potentially take it higher. But at this point, unless they show some strength there, I'm going to start off range bound and I'm going to favor the short side. That's how we get started on the bonds. And Nasdaq, same story there. Up here, reverse retesting resistance, have not been able to bust through it. I had to kind of close above that 21, 120 for me to start thinking about any action on the Nasdaq. But at this point, looking to sell against the 21,040s, the 70s up to the 120s for rotations back down. Looking for early strength in the overnight, but looking for, unless they can take out resistance here, is looking for a rotation to the downside again. So there we have it. We'll see. It could be a little pop today at the end. You never know. At this point, it's been pretty freaking volatile. This is just crazy volatility. So difficult to trade, but and it's not directional by any means. So, and then finally, oil and gold. So gold is pretty much holding above that ledge at the 33.50. So starting off on the long side on gold, see if they can take it higher. Looking to retest that high at the 66, 67s. Unless they trade up below the 33.50, it's going to stay on the long side. So initially, I would look to buy against support on gold and look to buy against the 33.50s and the 33.45, 46s here for rotations back up. Those two support areas. Below that, taking off the long bias, going back a range bound. So that's gold to get started. And then finally, oil. Back up hasn't touched, it will move then either back to value at 62, going sideways, so range bound oil at this point. Let's see where they're going to end up here, but I just going to start range bound on oil. They are at value and no reason to do anything else. So range bound, let's sell 62s and 62.40s, buy support 61.30 and 61s for rotations back up. That's about oil. All right, back to the ES real quick and kind of stay where we left it. So we'll see here in the last 10 minutes if we're going to get some action here. But it looks to me like it's, if anything, we may see some weakness here late in the session since I haven't been able to take out resistance. But we'll see. And I'll wrap it there for now. So no room on Monday. See you back on Tuesday. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you back on Tuesday. All right, guys, later.